All right, awesome. Welcome in, everybody, to the Shelby County High School Football Pregame Show, live from Thompson High School tonight. We've got two perspectives here. Andrew up overlooking the field, myself down here field level as we get geared up for the opening night of the high school football season, the 2024 season officially getting underway tonight. We've got two matchups taking place here to kick off a new season, and we've got a new show set up here to kick off a new season as well. We're live on Facebook right now. We're live on YouTube right now. And in the future, hopefully also going to be live on Twitter, possibly Instagram as well, as we continue to grow this platform and try some new things this year. Visually, as you can see, we've got some sponsors down there for the show this year. We've got a much better setup overall. So just excited for some growth with this show and to make it better for you, the viewer, throughout this season. And what better time to debut the changes that we've created than the opening night of the high school football season. Two matchups to take place tonight. We've got Montevallo taking on Tarrant tonight to open the Bulldogs season ahead of their stretch of 5A games this year as they jump up from 4A to the 5A classification. And we've got the Thompson Warriors right here, nationally televised game on ESPN2, taking on a Grayson team who comes into this matchup 0-1, their second game, starting a little bit earlier over there in Georgia. Thompson, their first game coming off of that tight state championship loss last year. So plenty to get to. Andrew, I'm going to get your thoughts in just a second. But like I said, we've got some sponsors this year. I want to thank one of our sponsors right now. That's 3D Air Services. Since 2005, 3D Air Services has proudly called Shelby County home. More than just a trusted HVAC company, they're neighbors, friends, and supporters, not only of us, of Thompson Athletics and others across Shelby County as well. This is a group that is a proud sponsor of the Thompson Warriors. They're going to be sponsoring not just Thompson, though, several other teams for us this year throughout our tape show on Monday and Tuesday, as well as our live show on Friday night, including Pelham, Oak Mountain, and Briarwood as well. They believe in the power of teamwork, dedication, community spirit. Those values they'll carry with them into every job that they do. They're your trusted neighbor, keeping Shelby County comfortable, one home at a time. So make sure you check out 3D Air Services this winter, going into the cold winter months. Obviously, we've still got some summer weeks ahead as well. So make sure you give our friends at 3D Air Services a call. Visit their website, 3dairservices.com, as well, as they sponsor us throughout the season. Very appreciative of them. The rest of our sponsors, who I'm going to mention as well, Scooter's Coffee, Consign Design, and Bertoloni's, all very appreciative of their efforts to help us put on this show this year. But without further ado, we jump right in. We've got high school football to talk about, Andrew, and I've talked enough, so I'm going to send it straight to you and get your thoughts ahead of this opening night before we jump into these two individual matchups.
It just feels right, doesn't it, just to be back during sports season. It's been a long 3 months since baseball and softball wrapped up over in Oxford, and we've been as anticipated for this football season as I think basically any of them. There are so many incredible teams out here in Shelby County, and two of the teams that we're most excited about, Thompson and Montevallo, kicking off tonight. We get a little bit of a preview before the big action comes tomorrow night, and what could be bigger than a nationally televised game right here at Warrior Stadium? So what a way to kick off the season.
Well, and the team that's prepared to play on national television, too. This is a team that's very comfortable in this situation. They've done it a lot the last few years, so they're going to be no stranger to this, and on their home field. Taking on a powerhouse like this to begin the season is always nerve-wracking, but win or lose, this is a good opportunity for Thompson just to grow and get better with what they've got ahead in Class 7A Region 3, which we didn't really think it could get more difficult. It may have gotten more difficult in the offseason with some shifts and changes there. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I can't wait to see this night get going, see it unfold. We've got our good friend and photographer over here, Jeremy Raines, getting locked in and ready to go as well. So the excitement's here. It's bustling right now. And so let's jump in. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about these two football games we've got tonight with Montevallo and Tarrant. Let's start there. The Bulldogs looking to start the Garrett Langer era with a win tonight and get some confidence as they jump up to the 5A classification after being in the 4A classification for a while now. A team that's taken a rise quickly there in Montevallo with their classification jumps. And you don't really think of them as a 5A level team, tonight they get a chance to get some confidence in a big matchup early in the season against a team that is in a lower classification. So, Andrew, what are you looking for there from the Montevallo Bulldogs in this game tonight as they host Tarrant?
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's an exciting time for Montevallo, and I don't think this team is really lacking in any excitement whatsoever since Garrett Langer took over as head coach, and with the great crop of kids that they've got over there, this should be a good year for them. But now it's time to translate that hype into results on the field. And what I'm really looking forward to seeing is, we know how the running game is going to be. It's a very strong running back with Rosario Conwell paired with a really good, very veteran offensive line. I'm interested to see how the pass game goes. Jordan Ward has gotten a lot of hype from this team as the next quarterback up. He got to work a lot behind Braxton King last year, and we saw some of what he could do as well. But I think that this should be really interesting to see how he develops into this offense as this offense fully adjusts to life without Javon Rogers. Obviously, he had a season-ending injury, happened about midway through the season last year, and D. Cutts got to step up into that role. I'm excited to see who comes up around him, because I really do think that this group of Montevallo receivers is solid. And as for the defense, I'm looking to see how they attack the ball with Nyland Hill good, how they're able to compensate for that loss of Charlie Adams, and if that secondary can really keep up that reputation it's had of defending a lot of really quality receivers between D. Cutts, Keaston Ross, and the rest of that second level.
Yeah. For those just tuning in, make sure that you comment, you like, anything you can do. We appreciate it. Share the show if you get a chance. We appreciate that. We're trying to grow this platform, have a little bit more fun with it this year. But get in the comment section. That's something that could really be a lot of fun with this new platform we're trying out. We've already seen Jeremy Raines, who's here covering tonight for us with some great photography skills as always. Let's go Warriors there as he'll be shooting for Thompson here tonight. But get in the comment section, give us some good comments, and we'll make sure to display those throughout the show as well. And we're going to have a big show for you tomorrow night with an action-packed night ahead tomorrow night. But finishing off our Montevallo talk, Andrew, this is a team 7-3 last year, but felt like they were on the cusp of being an even better football team that could have made a deep run in the playoffs. And it was just an unfortunate way that things shook out last year that they didn't get that opportunity. But athletes back. They've got a ton of athletes on this football team. Do you think they're going to be able to come into this game and showcase that specifically on the offensive side of the football tonight to win this game?
I definitely think so. This is a Tarrant team that they were able to break through pretty easily last year, especially on the ground. Rosario Conwell having an absolutely big game. D. Cutts also having a couple of scores as well, going for over 100 yards receiving in that as well. And just overall, it was a strong performance for Montevallo. I do think that Tarrant has definitely taken another step this offseason, having a full offseason under a second-year head coach. But I just think that Montevallo is going to show just that it's on another level going into this game and really start out the year on a strong note, going into a big stretch for them. I'll pick the Bulldogs to start out the year.
Yep, I agree. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch that game tonight. You're going to see some athletes on display. The quarterback position going to be fun to watch how that kind of grows throughout the season. Offensive line going to be a big thing too. But what I said in my tweet this morning was that this is a team that you need to look for that stamina early in the season. It's going to be a little bit cooler than you probably expect on opening night. But if Montevallo can come out and show some good stamina in this opening game, that bodes well for them down the stretch with a lot of two-way players on that team. But against Tarrant tonight, the better team is Montevallo. I think the Bulldogs walk away with a win as well. And that takes us to this game right here behind us. It's going to be a fun environment. ESPN2, nationally televised to open the season. It seems like a tradition now for Thompson on a yearly basis, and we're going to have a good crowd in attendance Thursday night, first night of the high school football season. You really can't ask for much more excitement than you're going to get in this one. And, Andrew, this is a Thompson team that enters this game fresh off a state championship loss last year, snapped their state championship streak. But at the end of the day, that was a team that almost overachieved, almost won that game against a Central Phoenix City team last year that felt destined to win the state championship with a lot of guys that have been playing together for a while. Now Thompson seems a little bit motivated. This is a team that's always going to take it 1 week at a time, but when you lose a state championship, a streak like that ends, it's pretty easy to let that fuel you all off season. And Andrew, in your conversations with some of the players, with the coaching staff in the off season, what have those conversations been like surrounding that talk of redemption, but also taking it one step at a time, coming into a big game like this?
Yeah, so Coach Freeman always told the players throughout the entire streak, winning is not guaranteed. And that's a really hard thing for some players to believe when all that they know is winning. 4 straight state titles, it can really almost, for lack of a better word, put a sense of entitlement into you that you are destined to win this every single year. But obviously running into an incredible Central Phoenix City team, Class 7A, extremely deep once again last year. It definitely showed a lot of things about this team. Not only that they could get close, but that not everything is guaranteed. And while he does say that they believed him to an extent during the streak, they definitely believe him now. And that's let this team have such a fire coming into this one, just absolutely motivated. And that's the theme that you hear throughout talking to all these players and the coaches. They feel like they have something to prove. They have a chip on their shoulder. And if you thought this Thompson team could already play incredible, then just watch what they could do when they've got a little extra motivation on their hand as well.
Yeah, and that's what's scary. This defense is so talented and so loaded. I am interested to see how that depth unfolds on the defensive side. But the defense is so good. They've got an All-American quarterback in Trent Seaborn, and they've got a really strong running back room, especially with Mike Dujon leading the way. So you look at that. If this team has an offensive line, if they have 2 receivers step up, I mean, they instantly become the favorite to win the state championship. So before we get to our prediction and the expectation tonight, as we are just past 6:30 and less than 30 minutes from kickoff, what can you expect from the offensive line, from the receiver position in particular, going into this matchup?
We're going to need some players to step up. That's the bottom line for that. Thompson has to replace 4 players on their offensive line. Everybody but their center, Dylan Marquez, is back for them. Their top 3 wide receivers are gone. Angel Jones will now be that number 1 man, flanked by a couple of H-backs and some speedier wide receivers who are coming up behind them. So it's going to be a different look for them this season than we're maybe used to. But I think we're going to need to see some stars come out tonight and really just be born under a national stage against one of the favorites for the Georgia Class 6A title in Grayson. So it'll be a little bit difficult for sure. But if they're able to block up front, Mike Dujon and their new number 2 back, RJ Evans, should be more than capable of being able to shift through some holes, be able to create some plays with their speed. And Trent Seaborn, he's the type of quarterback who makes his receivers better for sure. And I think with another year in this offense, you can expect to see some development out of him and do some creative things with his receivers and elevate them to the standard that this team needs to be in to contend in this game, because it will be definitely a battle going up against a really good secondary for this Grayson team and just all-around solid defense.
Yep. For those just joining, make sure you get in the comments. Jump in the comments. We're displaying those throughout the show. If you got any burning questions, as we got just a couple minutes left here before we sign off, make sure to jump in the comments, and we'll try to get to those before the end of the show as well. But, Andrew, I think it's time to jump in, look at the prediction side of it and the expectation for tonight. I know you've created a little bit of noise this week with some predictions there across the county, something I'm glad I don't have to deal with as much anymore. But what's your expectation for Thompson in this game and the ultimate outcome at the end of the night?
So there were a couple county teams I did give bulletin board material to, and one of them, unfortunately, was the Thompson Warriors. I did pick Grayson to win in a close one earlier this week in my predictions for the week, which you can find right now on ShelbyCountyReporter.com in that sports section. So go ahead and read up on your favorite team there. But bottom line is I think it's going to be really competitive. I think the Warriors are going to contend maybe a little bit more than some people might expect in this one. I do think that Grayson enters the game as the favorite. But I think overall, just the experience that Grayson has had with the physicality, being in pads longer, having an extra game under their belt, despite losing in, quite frankly, a disappointing fashion, blowing a 19-3 lead last week up in Georgia. I do think that that's the type of loss that really motivates them to want to come out here. Obviously, Thompson going to be playing plenty motivated as well, but I really do think this team has found out a lot about itself from last week and will be able to show that during this game. But Thompson definitely going to have the tools to compete in the air, on the ground, and on defense. And if they show the form that they were showing last season at the start of this year, then look out. I do think that Thompson does have a shot to win, but while I go back and forth, I do have to lean Grayson at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's the defense of Thompson. That's what I think is going to be the ultimate difference. Early in the season, we talked about it earlier in the week, the defense tends to be a little bit ahead of the offense, and while it will be key to see how those receivers mesh with Trent Seaborn tonight, it's also going to be interesting to see that offensive line. But over on the defensive side, the talent that they have there if they've got the depth that they need, this is going to be a stout defense this year, and it's going to be tough for teams to go up and down the field and score on them. And this is a Grayson team that, like you said, in the second half last week, struggled to score points. If that carries over at all against this defense, they're just not going to score a ton of points tonight. Now, this is a talented football team. They've got a week under their belt. They're going to have some tape to look at. So this is a team that's going to come in a little bit better than they were in week one, and they did show a lot of promising signs in a difficult game there a week ago. So at the end of the day, this is a very talented Grayson team despite sitting at 0-1. But Thompson on their home field, they've got a week of tape that they can watch on Grayson of actual gameplay, where Thompson doesn't have that on tape yet. So Grayson doesn't have that preparation there, and I think that could ultimately help this Thompson defense be prepared for what they're going to face tonight too. So end of the day, I think Thompson's defense gets it done tonight. I think the Warriors are going to be incredible in this opener, and I'm going to be really interested to see who Trent Seaburn is throwing the football to tonight. We know about Angel Jones. We know about a couple of others that are stepping into new positions, but it's going to be a lot of fun to see some new playmakers on a talented team step up, and who are going to be the names we talk about throughout the seasons. Amanda, we appreciate the kind comment. Like we've said throughout the show, this is a new kind of platform for us. We're trying some different things. Hope to be able to stream, in addition to YouTube and Facebook, in the future to Twitter and possibly Instagram as well. Twitter probably coming next week. Instagram possibly throughout the season at some point as well. So we appreciate all the kind comments and are excited to be able to do a little bit more of an engaging show, hopefully get some questions throughout the season as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. But you've got a Grayson pick over there from Andrew. You've got a Thompson pick from me. We're both in agreement that Montevallo is going to start 1-0 in their matchup with Tarrant tonight. So it's the opening night of the 2024 high school football season. We've been waiting for it all off season, and it all comes to an end and starts a new beginning now as we get ready for this refreshed start in 2024. It's going to be a lot of fun here tonight at Thompson, down in Montevallo as well. Look for all of our coverage on Twitter. Andrew and I going to be covering throughout the night. We're going to have our story and photos on Twitter, on Facebook after the game. So make sure that you stay up and give those a read and see all the great photos from our great photographers tonight as well. But tonight's just the beginning. Tomorrow night, we'll see you back again. We're going to have you at two different games tomorrow night. I'll be down at Oak Mountain Briarwood, a fun 280 area rivalry. So make sure you tune back in tomorrow night for that. Andrew, just down the road from me, I believe, at Spain Park, if I remember that correctly. Is that right, Andrew?
That's correct. I will be at Spain Park in Sparkman to see newly minted Clemson commit Brock Bradley lead this incredible Spain Park offense against a Sparkman team coming up from in 7A. Should be a really good test for the Jags, starting out ahead of a really good stretch to start the season for them. Lots of expectations for that team and so many others throughout the county.
Yep, and a lot to talk about tomorrow night because we both think highly of that Spain Park team. That Oak Mountain Briarwood matchup, a 280-year rivalry, going to be fun. But a lot of unknown coming into the season that I can't wait to see some of those faces step into big, important roles and get to know some of these players as we dive in to another season. One more time, I want to thank our sponsors, 3D Air Services, first and foremost, as they're going to sponsor Thompson and a few other teams this year throughout our shows and our platforms. And then Scooter's Coffee, Inverness and Chelsea locations, Consign Design, just down the road from us here, and Bertoloni's in Calera as well. Make sure you support all of them. We truly appreciate what they're allowing us to do this year as we try to give you a more fun and engaging show throughout the season. But that does it for show number 1 from Thompson High School. We will see you all tomorrow night. Make sure you tune back in. It's the big night, opening night with several teams in action across Shelby County. It's going to be a lot of fun. We can't wait to see you then. Until then, hope you all enjoy your football Thursday night.